Good day, everyone. My name is Angelina Picalso, and I am the reporter for today. So, our topic is about recycling and global warming. So, our first topic is recycling. What is recycling? Recycling is a way to take trash and turn it into a new product. There are a number of different recycling processes that allow materials to be used more than once. Recycling is the process of collecting and processing materials that would otherwise be thrown away as trash and turning them into new products. So recycling can benefit to our community and the environment, like reduces the amount of waste sent to landfills and incinerators, saves energy, helps create jobs in the recycling and manufacturing industries, and etc. What can be recycled? All sorts of material can be recycled. Some of the most common processes in use today involve recycling plastic, glass, metals, paper, electronics, and textiles. Typical use items made of these materials include soda cans, plastic milk can- plastic milk cartons, newspapers, old computers, and cardboard boxes. How does recycling work? Recycling is actually a complicated process and is different for each type of materials. Aluminum cans. Aluminum cans were one of the first items to be heavily recycled. The process isn't quite as complicated as it is for some other materials. The cans are first shredded and then melted. From there, the aluminum can be used to make new cans and other aluminum items. Next is plastic bottles. There are a lot of types of plastic bottles, and each type is made from a different combination of chemicals. As a result, plastic bottles are first sorted into their various chemical types. Then, they are cleaned to get rid of any leftover food or other waste. Next, the bottles are crushed or shredded into fine plastic chips. Then the chips can be melted down to create new plastic or turned into a fiber used for making carpets or clothing. Next is paper. Paper starts its recycling process by being mixed with water and other chemicals to break it down. It then gets shredded and heated up. This process eventually turns the paper into a pulp or slurry. The pulp gets strained in order to remove any glues or plastics. After that, it gets cleaned and bleached to remove any leftover inks or dyes. Now the pulp is ready to be made into new papers. Next is computers and batteries. Computers and batteries are usually recycled in order to remove harmful chemicals as well as to recover or salvage some valuable materials such as gold from electronics boards. After collection, recyclables are sent to a recovery facility to be sorted, cleaned, and processed into materials that can be used in manufacturing. Recyclables are bought and sold just like raw materials would be, and prices go up and down depending on supply and demand. Next is the recycling loop. The recycling symbols or loop has their arrows. Each arrow represents a different step in the recycling process. These steps are collecting recyclable materials like aluminum cans and plastic bottles. Second is processing the old materials and making new items. The last one is buying items made from recycled materials. Next is benefits of recycling. There are a number of benefits from recycling. These include landfills. Recycling materials means less trash and saves spaces in dumps and landfills. Next is resources. When we use materials again, this means we can take fewer resources from the earth. Last is pollution. In general, recycling materials can produce less pollution, helping to keep our environment clean. So, recycling keeps materials out of landfills, where they can introduce contaminants into groundwater system. And it helps to reduce air and water pollution by cutting down the number of pollutants that are released into the environment. What can you do? Be sure to recycle everything you can in your house and school. There is almost always a recycle trash can around. Be sure to drop your used aluminum cans and plastic bottles there. At, at home, be sure to put paper items like the newspaper, cereal boxes, and homework pages into the recycle bin. Next topic is about global warming. What is global warming? Global warming is the term used to describe the rising of the average temperature of Earth. It has to do with the overall climate of the Earth rather than the weather on any given day. So, global warming is the gradual heating of the planet's surface, oceans, and atmosphere. Next is history of global temperatures. The Earth has gone through changes in temperature before. The Earth has even gone through several ice ages when the temperature dropped significantly and a lot of the world was covered in ice glaciers. Each time the planet eventually warmed up and melted the ice. Why is global warming important? Even small variations of the planet's average temperature can have, can have a large impact of the environment. For example, the ice ages that occur generally involve a reduction in the global temperature of around 5 degrees Celsius. Here are a few of the things that scientists think may happen as the temperature rises. Some of them are already happening. Glaciers melting. Many glaciers are already melting and shrinking throughout the world. If the temperature increases, they will continue to melt. Ocean levels will rise. As the glaciers melt, the ocean's level will rise. This could cause flooding in cities located near the coast. Migration of animals. Animals will migrate to colder spots as their old habitats get too warm. This could upset the food chain and put some species in danger of extinction. Extreme weather. Some scientists think that warming will fuel more powerful hurricanes as well as more droughts and flooding in different around areas of the world. Change in ecosystems. Cold weather biomes such as the tundra will shrink, while deserts will continue to expand. What causes global warming? Global warming is a very complex subject. Some scientists disagree as to what caused the rise in temperatures that occurred during the end of the 20th century. Things that can have an impact on global warming include the natural temperature fluctuations of the planet, greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide, volcanic eruptions, and increased solar activity. So it causes to generating power, manufacturing goods, cutting down forests, using transportation, producing food, and etc. Natural fluctuations. The average temperature of the Earth has changed throughout history. Some of this is due to natural changes in temperature that occur over time due to a large number of variables. Even slight changes in nutrient cycles such as the carbon cycle, the oxygen cycle, and the water cycle likely have an impact on the climate over time. Some scientists think that the current warming trend is just a part of the Earth's natural changes in temperature, and it will eventually start to cool again. So natural fluctuation is weather have direct impacts on drivers of ecosystem change such as drought, forest fire, flooding, permafrost melt, forest pest outbreaks, and timing of vegetation greening. Greenhouse gases. The reason the Earth isn't a ball of frozen ice is because of greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases act like insulation to keep the Earth warm. However, as more and more greenhouse gases get into the atmosphere, the Earth will start to grow warmer. The main greenhouse gases that keep the Earth warm are water vapor, carbon dioxide, and methane. In the past 100 years, humans have been the cause of a significant increase in greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, especially carbon dioxide. Every time we drive our cars or use electricity, more carbon dioxide is released into the air. So, greenhouse gas is a gas that absorbs and emits radiant energy within the thermal infrared range, causing the greenhouse effect. The primary greenhouse gases in Earth's atmosphere are water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and ozone. They let sunlight pass through the atmosphere, but they prevent the heat that the sunlight brings from leaving the atmosphere. Overall, greenhouse gases are in a good thing. Without them, our planet would be too cold and life as we know it would not exist. Sun activity. Since all the energy and heat on the earth comes from the sun, it follows that the sun's activity will have some effect on the temperature of the earth. The activity of the sun is actually different over time, which can change how much energy actually hits the earth. Volcanoes. When volcanoes erupt, they can change the temperature of the entire earth for a short period of time. This is because their eruptions send large amount of ash and particles into the atmosphere. This blocks some of the sun's rays from hitting the earth and can cause the earth to cool. At the same time, volcanic eruptions emit large amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. So, volcanoes are openings or events where lava, tempera, small rocks, and steam erupt onto the Earth's surface. What can we do about it? We can't do much about the Earth's natural fluctuations, volcanic eruptions, or the sun's activity, but we can impact the amount of greenhouse gases that are emitted into the air. Many of our everyday activities cause more carbon dioxide to be released into the atmosphere, including driving cars and using electricity you use, as well as how much driving you or your parents do. Things like carpooling to events and planting trees can help. Carbon footprint. One way to measure how much carbon dioxide you contribute to the atmosphere is by calculating your carbon footprint. There are a lot of variables to consider, including the gas mileage of your family's car and how your local power plants generates its electricity. A lot of the same activities that produce carbon dioxide also cause air pollution. So by lowering your carbon footprint, you can help the environment in many ways. Carbon footprint is the total greenhouse gas emissions caused by an individual, event, organization, service, place, or product expressed as carbon dioxide equivalent. The major contributors to carbon footprints are food, consumptions, transformations, transportations, and household energy. Food is a major contributor to carbon footprints, and meat in particular is an issue. Livestock is responsible for a significant amount of greenhouse gas emissions, and beef is one of the highest contributors. And that's all my topic. Thank you for listening.